Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today's review is going to be all about the most controversial automotive repair that I see discussed lately is repairing a tire. Should you use a plug or a patch? What is acceptable? What's not acceptable? Well, I'm going to show you what I use, and I still use plugs, but let's go over to the bench here and I'm going to show you what's going on. And I actually made my own tool for plugging a tire. I'm going to show you that. So let's start off with the tools I'm going to use today, and I'm going to explain to you why I can't actually say whether you should plug a tire or not. But I'm going to show you what I use, and I'll give you a little bit of a demonstration for those who've never tried plugging a tire before, when you get a nail in your tire or a screw, and the procedure. And you may find this interesting, but let's go over to the bench. Let's take a look at what's going on today. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this is the tool that I made myself, and it's nothing fancy. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but yeah, there's threads in there all the way to the other side. So I just got a bit of this stock here. Now this is a piece of stainless steel 1/4 inch, and if you use a M7 die, well, you can thread it and then an M7 tap, and that's what I did. So it's easy to work with when you got 1/4 inch, because you can't use a 1/4 inch die on a 1/4 inch piece of round stock. So this is what I had in the beginning, and I ended up with this. I'll show you what that looks like. But this is what I've been using in the past, and this is the reamer. And I like this style here. And you wonder how I get that so clean? Well, when I'm finished, I just use a little bit of brake clean and everything comes off. But there's this style here. Now this is okay, but I'll tell you what, there's a problem with this, and that's the reason why I went to this. And if we just take a look here, I just want to show you this for an example. I put my hand on here, and I tell you, this here I don't like. I don't like this kind of feel like this, because it's very like, well, it's not really, to me, it's just not comfortable at all. I don't know whose fingers, if you take a look, you can see none of my fingers match these holes or these slots. And, you know, it's just, well, I don't like it. Plus, the distance from the end to here is 2 inches. So if we look at the plugs that I use, now this is just an empty box, so this did have 30 at one time. Now these are the 6 mil or 5/16, and you can get them in 1/8 or 3.5 mil. Now I only go with the 8-inch ones, so these are 8-inch long, because they try to sell you the ones that are 4-inch, but when you use it in this particular jig like this, yeah, some of them are less than 4-inch, and when you go to plug your tire, you've got most of the plug inside the tire, and sometimes they'll punch right straight through on one side. So yeah, and this is the cement that I use. I always use a cement to go with it as a lube for the plug. And so I mean, when you take a look at this one here, you could see it's a huge difference. I'll show you how I designed that and what it actually looks like. But we go over to here. What's the hammer for? Okay, so on all these type of tools, you can see the slot where you have to put the plug in there, and you have to feed it in there, right? Okay, so what I do is I always go to the center here. I get my hammer, I just put it on my steel workbench, and I just flatten this out, because you'll have, you know, a real challenging time getting these on a lot of times, because they're so gummy and gooey. And you know, if I just hammer it down right here flat, then yeah, it will slide in here a lot easier. So I'm going to demonstrate how to put a plug in today. I'm going to show you what this is for. I'm going to show you what this is all for. And I got the concrete and a little bit of a demonstration. So let's get to the whole idea of these tools for plugging a tire, and whether you should actually be using these type of rope plugs. They have some type that are screw-in kind of rubber plugs too. I've never used them. Now, if you want to put a patch in, that's what's recommended today. dismounting the tire, putting in a proper patch, and you know, off you go. I don't plug anybody's tires, and last week my buddy used this on his truck, and he had a flat in his driveway, so he wanted to put a plug in it and then put some air in. So I had him do it, and I'll tell you something, he struggled with this, like big time, like I always did. So I decided to design this, and this is the rig here. Now all I did was use a piece of this stock, and you can see where I just used a cut-off tool, thin disc, just to shape it like that. And if we take a look, you can see it's flat on both sides. Now I have tried this once. Now I didn't have it in the holder. All I did was have a 2x4 with a hole in it, and I just pushed it in. And then I had to use my pliers. You can see the marks there. I had to use my vice grips to pull it out with. But this actually worked fantastic. Now, if you take a look at this tip here, you could see how this is designed so that it goes inside the hole and then, you know, goes through easily. But if we just take a look at both of them here, mine is pretty much the same, except at the end here it's just an opening, and I thought that might be a problem, but no, actually it went in fine. Now you can get a different style to this. It kind of looks like this, except at the end it's like spring-loaded, where these actually close completely 100%, and then when you pull the plug out, or pull the tool out and leave the plug inside, well, it just disengages. But I don't like that style because it's too hard to load the rubber plugs in. So I've been using this for years until I went to this one. Now, if you're wondering what the concrete's for, yeah, so I just got some of this bonding concrete. So it's just mainly like sand concrete, and I'm going to fill this tube with the concrete. So I'm going to show you how that's all going to work out. But when you're thinking about plugging a tire, I'm going to show you a little bit of a demonstration for those who've never plugged a tire before, the whole idea behind it. And of course I always use the cement as a, and this is a specific one, not just this product, but it's just a rubber cement, and it's great as a lubrication, and it seals it up. And in my experience, well, I've never had a problem with putting in plugs, but today, well, they're saying you should put a patch on the inside. Apparently the radial tires today are built a little bit different than they were years ago, and if you repair your own vehicles, you'll notice that like many years ago they started putting dates on the tires, and now they're saying you shouldn't drive on a tire that's over 7 years old. And many don't recommend the plugs anymore. Go with the patch, where you dismount the tire and put a round plug, and it has like a stem on it. You pull that from the inside to out, and that's supposed to be the much better repair. Now it's up to you what you want to do, but I thought I'd just show you what I figured out, and this is the way to go for me. I like this, and it's working out great. The only thing that I found over time is these little dinky things here are so lightweight. That's why I want something with some, you know, some beefy weight. Like, I mean, this isn't lightweight as it is now, but when I fill that with concrete, yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be nice and heavy, nice and comfortable. Then I'm going to show you the whole idea behind this is to use this little piece of rubber. So I'm going to put this over top of here, and then you can see the distance between here and here is so if you can just see there where the end of that slot is, so a little over an inch. So this should come, this piece of rubber will come right to here, right to where the end of my thumb is. So you're going to have about, that is exactly about 1.25 inches. And I mean, there's no reason to drive a plug in any further, because you know what? What's the purpose of that, right? You're just having a big hunk of, you know, this rope plug sitting inside your tire. I mean, of course, I always have excess and I just cut it off, but you know, this will work out a lot better. And it's kind of a stop like this one, except I didn't want to go 2 inches. Who needs to go 2 inches into their tire? I haven't seen a tire that's an inch yet. So, I mean, from the top of the tread to the inside of the tire, you're lucky if you ever see an inch. So I'm just going to show a little bit of a demonstration here on how this actually works, because it's a lot better than what I've seen before, people showing people how to plug a tire. Well, I'm just going to show you the theory behind it. So let's get started right now. Okay, for demonstration purposes, we're going with this. Okay, so you have a nail that's in your tire, you pull the nail out, and then you use the reamer, and you push the reamer in, and you can turn it as you go, and then that enlarges the hole a bit, but of course it's going to contract over time, right? And then you would get your cement, you put the cement on the outside, say the first couple of inches of the plug itself, and as you're going in, it goes in, and you can see on the far side you got this piece left over. So now as you pull it out fast, the plug stays in there, and then you cut it off with your side cutters here after it's cured, right? Now, can you imagine if you have this much sitting inside, or if you only got like a short plug? A lot of them are less than 4 inches. So with you know, this type of tool here, yeah, you can push it all the way almost through in the inside. So it's best just to have it to come in like this, and then this can't come out. So the glue and the plug itself is going to seal on the inside right tight there. Okay, so here's the setup. So I got my glue gun, and I glued, just put some glue on the rod first, and then push the piece of hose in there, and then you could see where I glue it on the bottom, I glued on the top there. So when I'm putting in the cement, well, it's not going to make a big mess all over the place, because you know what? Yeah, I would make a big mess all over the place. So this here has it glued down to the cardboard so it's standing up so I could work on it. And that's pretty much it. So I mean, there it is right there. And so what I recommend really for people to keep on using these plugs, or should they actually go to their tire shop and get the patches that the manufacturer wants you to get? Well, I like these tire plug ropes. They've worked fine for me. I've been using them for like, well, easily, yeah, 50 years. So I've had no problem with them. But you know, things change. And when you're thinking about liability, and you're thinking about what ifs, and you know, like, what if I put one of these on, say, somebody's vehicle, they go down the road and something happens, well, it would come back to me, right? So that's not the liability that I want. When I'm doing it on my own stuff, fine. But take, for instance, on my new truck, I would never put one of these in my new truck. I mean, these tires are $500 a piece. I'm not going to put one of these in. But I would say, you know, thinking about using these, technology changes over time, recommendations change over time. When I first started driving, there was no, you know, date of build on the side of a tire, you know, and the reason why they put them on is because so many, well, retailers got caught selling 15-year-old tires, right? And they'd be dry rotted, they go out on the road and blow up, and nobody knew what the date of manufacturer was. So then they started to force them to put the date of manufacturer on. And then we heard, okay, so maybe around 7 years' time you should change your tires. And of course, on tires today, they always put like a wear bar indicator on the tire itself so you can tell when it goes down that low. I never ever get close to that. For the times that I've gotten a nail or a screw or something in one of my vehicles over the years, I've never got one on the side. So I mean, I have seen people put one of these on the side of their tire to plug a hole. And I would never do that. Right? It's not recommended. I would never do it, but I've seen people do it, and I just shake my head. And I thought, you know what, buddy, I mean, just go put another tire on, right? But for a lot of people out there, well, they're willing to save 25 cents and get into a $10,000 accident sometimes. So, it's all about liability. So thanks for joining me here today. And I am going to show you this tool in the future. The next time I have to plug a tire, I think I got about 20 tires altogether, maybe 20, 25 tires. So I'm getting a lot of punctures now and again here and there, and not all my tires are on road. A lot of them are off-road tires. So it won't be long before I can show you how this thing actually works. And I hope you like the design. It seemed to work fine my first time, and I'm hoping that'll be a winner for me, because all that extra added weight, if you've ever plugged a tire before, these little Mickey Mouse plastic things, you're going back and forth and you're struggling. Yeah. This is the thing I think that's going to work out a lot better in the future. So thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. Come back again, see some interesting things that maybe you haven't seen someplace else. Cheers.